What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, and it's time for the Motor Stardom show. Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm RJ Starcevic, one of your glorious hosts. As I'm in Tampa, Florida right now. I'm going to bring in Mason Maggio, who it appears he is in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm bringing Stephen Malazzi, who I believe is also in North Carolina. Maybe. Where are you?
No? You'll never know. You'll never get that information out of me, buddy.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Somewhere in Tennessee, maybe.
I'm in Philadelphia.
Oh.
Yo,
okay.
We should have
PHL. Go Birds, baby. Yeah, I'm in Philly still. I don't leave for Bristol till Thursday night.
Yeah, we got two guys in here that will be racing at Bristol this weekend. Are we excited? Both of us have raced there in the Xfinity. Have raced there before, right?
Yep, both of us have truck starts there. So, in the words of Dale Jr., it's Bristol, baby. So I'm personally very excited about it. Bristol is a very fun track, multi-groove, aggressive racing. I love short track racing at this level. It's for whatever reason I always have a blast doing it. So, but I've been there twice in a truck and first time in an Xfinity car this weekend. So. Looking forward to being back in the 53 car. We got Rocky Lace hardware up on the quarter panels this weekend, along with LT Delivery, Density Energy Pouches, Bill Roberts Electrical, Blitz, all of our amazing partners on board. Still looking for some more partners to join us on our Batmobile, as I call it, because we don't have paint scheme. But, hey, we're going to make it work. We're going to have some fun doing it, and excited to get on track this weekend.
In the words of Stephen Malazzi's sponsor, I'm ready to run Outback, baby, because I hate Bristol. God, it is a nightmare. And RBR historically does not run very well at Bristol. It's actually a long-standing joke that Josh Ryome will crash in the first 10 laps at Bristol. And obviously, last time I went to Bristol, I did not have a fun time. It was not good. It was me and Greg Van Ost just racing laps and laps down. And then he wrecked behind me, racing me. And then he ended up DNFing for some mechanical reason. And then it was just me, like slow as balls. And I got into it with Timmy Hill, which really made me feel bad because it wasn't Timmy Hill's fault. It was a short track racing deal. And I was really mad at Timmy Hill because I'm like, out of all the people who should know, oh my God, dude, why? Out of all the guys in the garage who know what it's like to be off the pace, Timmy's obviously driven a lot of backmarker stuff in his day. He gets it. And when he shoved me out of the way, I was like, damn, I cannot believe I just got shoved out of the way by Timmy Hill. But it turns out he got hit behind by somebody who just drove into me. And we were like a second off. It was not fun. It was not a good time at all. So yes, very excited to go back to my favorite place in the entire universe. That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, it was the place where the Outback truck was born. Technologically, so I guess you can have some positive things to take away from what you were able to do there, or at least while you were there.
We're getting Outback Steakhouse catered this week.
I know where I'm going on Friday.
Yeah,
again,
my homie, baby. I'm getting you free steak. Don't even worry about it. Come on down. We'll get you hooked up, Magoo.
Hey, those hamburgers last time were made
pretty good.
Mason had them.
I'm going to give them credit. They were actually really good. I've never had an Outback Steakhouse burger. It's always been like just getting a small filet or something like that. As we've talked about with our episode with Carson Ware, I'm a very picky eater. So if I go to a restaurant, my meal is on speed dial. So I get the same thing every time. So that was cool. They were actually really good.
Don't worry, guys. We're going to be talking about some Raising Cane's menu items.
This episode. Baby.
So we've already talked chicken tenders on this show just a few weeks ago, and Steven missed out on it because he was dying from whatever he had.
That was bad. That was not a good time.
But now, as the graphic says, he's back. Toledo said Steven is locked in Maggio's basement per sources. So,
not to my knowledge.
I'm in his basement, all right. He just doesn't know it.
Joke's on you. I don't have a basement.
Oh, got him. Got him.
Who's the sponsor in your truck this week, Steven? Any shout outs to give?
It's Morecore, I think. I don't actually
Morecore.
It's usually Stacking Denny's and Win the Race are my two primaries. I got some some Outback stuff. I got there's going to be a Shady Ray sticker on there this week, or that might be next week at Rockingham. I don't actually know. We got a couple of guys. I think it'll be interesting. I haven't actually seen the truck yet. I don't know. I'll let you know. I'll let you know on Friday. How about you ask me next week who my sponsors were for Bristol, and I'll tell you. I know that those guys are all going to be on the truck. I just don't know in what order. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll let Josh Ryome handle that. I got law school, man. I'm learning about courts. The courts, baby.
Well,
I got
good enough.
Today I had professional responsibility. I had corporations, learned a lot about corporations, and I had civil procedure, which I skipped to do this show and go get some dinner.
Oh, thanks so much, man.
Yeah.
We appreciate your dedication to the show, and I look forward to seeing your truck this weekend. So we got Mason racing this weekend. We got Steven racing this weekend, obviously on part-time basis. Let's bring in our wonderful full-time driver.
Hello.
Here. Tony Breidinger is getting ready to race this weekend. I think we got it. You guys, am I echoing?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Well, no, I lied. I think you are. Don't ask me. I just joined. I have no idea.
Well,
Maybe it's my fault.
It might be you.
No way.
Where's the audio coming out?
Oh, I'm testing out this microphone that I've been told that it's not very good. I wonder if I should switch up. I think I might be the problem.
Who said that?
Wait, should I just unplug my mic?
Yeah, try it.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I feel bad. I'm creating all these technical difficulties.
No. All we do is riff here, so.
Oh, that's much better.
Oh, now you're.
But now we can't. Dude,
you might have to change it. There might be there's a setting here. I think you change where your audio is coming through.
We've had such a smooth first 5 weeks of this show that we were destined for a week.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
perfect.
Yes.
Oh,
perfect.
Is that
Let's
better?
go.
Got it.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe
Yes.
that's the problem. Gosh, sorry about that, guys.
It happens. I mean, I feel like a lot of people just be joining on their phones and stuff anyways, and then having a good time. So
I was trying.
But anyways, we're live here on Instagram and YouTube, and I think also Twitch. But Tony, how are we doing?
I'm good. How are you guys? Happy Tuesday.
Good, and we're getting ready for Bristol this week. Does Bristol excite you? It doesn't really excite Steven. It somewhat excites Mason. It excites me as a viewer, but does it excite you as a driver?
It does, because I've actually been there before, which is very exciting for me because every other track has been new. So this is an exciting moment. I have newfound confidence.
That's funny because Bristol doesn't excite me because I've been there before. So I feel the exact opposite. I'm like, I'm dreading this. So I'm glad somebody's excited.
Yeah, I'll share my excitement with all of you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be an interesting race. It usually is. We've seen some chaotic short track races lately. But Tony, you being in the truck series, does it make you happy that all the drama's going towards Mason's Xfinity series and you guys aren't getting all the crap anymore?
We've been pretty clean in the truck series, so I feel like I have faith that Bristol will be a fairly clean race, but we'll see.
It usually gets stacked up there towards the end, but I guess we'll find out what happens. Steven in Steven's race, he was talking about how he had a nice battle with Greg Van Alst in the back, and then Greg Van Alst spun out. And then where did you finish in that race?
Thanks for reminding me. I was 31st, 8 laps down.
Nice.
At Bristol?
Yeah. In 2023.
Okay.
And like the thing that I always joke about with Josh, and we were kind of talking about this a little bit earlier, is we are awful at Bristol. Like RBR historically it is our worst track. If Josh is in it, he's done. Lap 11, it's over. He will wreck. I think in 22 he ended up in the hospital because he got concussed when Raja slammed into him after he spun. We DNF'd one truck in 23, and I was 8 laps down.
Oh, I love the honesty. I'm living for this.
Yeah. We wrecked the truck there in 24. And then obviously we have Stephen Malazzi behind the wheel in 25. So we know that that's a disaster waiting to happen.
Even should I text Josh in advance and tell him sorry?
No, I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be good. I think we'll be good. But Tony,
Yeah.
let's talk about since you're our guest of honor, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about myself and my mission.
No, I respect it.
Debbie Downer. First full-time season in the Truck Series. How has it been adjusting for you? How has it been? Obviously racing with a team like Tricon, getting that type of support, getting that type of backing behind you, and developing around all the big shots in the Truck Series. How's that been for you?
Yeah, definitely a learning curve for sure. Learned a lot in ARCA, but I never imagined I would learn this much more in trucks. Every race, I feel like I'm telling my team, I'm like, wow, I learned so much. I can't wait to apply that all the next weekend. And then I learned something entirely new the next weekend. So it's just constant learning, which is exciting. But I'm excited to also have the learning curve become a little less steep, hopefully as the season goes on. But yeah, it's been fun so far. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, I'm always like, I just want to finish the races, which I know sounds like a lame goal to have, but if I'm wrecking out lap 1, then I'm not going to be learning anything. So for me, I just want to focus on growth as a driver, because I think in the long run, that'll start to give me some results. So that's kind of been the focus, and just learning all the tracks, and yeah.
And how helpful is it to have, some pretty stout vet teammates like Corey, obviously, in your corner, helping guide you through this transition?
Yeah, no, it's been great. Obviously, Corey and Tanner both have a lot of experience in the Truck Series, so great to have them to lean on. I feel like I bug them with a lot of questions, but they're always super great about answering them for me. But yeah, it's definitely helpful. I mean, there's a lot that I could learn from them, so I try to use them as a tool as much as possible, but I'm sure I bug them a little bit.
Yeah, of course. And the other really interesting thing that I've always said about you specifically, there's only a few drivers in the Truck Series who can really find deep value in sponsorship, right? We have a really, really tough job where we are the 3rd tier division. So we get the least viewership of the 3 series, but it's just as expensive to go racing, right? But drivers like you and like my teammate, Frankie Muniz, have other ways to add value to sponsor. So talk a little bit about how you go about the process of bringing new partners into the sport. Obviously, you landed Raising Cane's, which is a huge deal, but you also always have a filled truck every week, and you've had a lot of interesting sponsorship endeavors. So talk a little bit about that side of it.
Yeah, it's been cool. I've always had a passion for marketing and social media, so I feel like I've been able to blend both together pretty well, and they go hand in hand. My social media helps me get behind the wheel, and I've been really able to leverage that. So I put a lot of emphasis on that at the track. Obviously, racing is priority, but I do make sure to balance the social media aspect and, interviews, appearances, because like you said, racing is very expensive. My partners are paying a lot to, be a part of this journey, and I want to give them all the exposure possible. I would hate to, I do kind of need to balance it a little bit, because I feel like I say yes to quite literally everything. But I would feel bad saying no, because I mean, they deserve all the, all the value that they can get from being a partner with me. So yeah, I try to do everything I can for them, everything between appearances, social media. But yeah, it is tricky because some drivers don't have to balance all that. And I feel like from some people outside looking in, they think it's a distraction. But I'm like, no, I quite literally would not be here in this situation without my partners. And I have to do all this other stuff on the side, which I enjoy doing, but it is a tough balance. But yeah, it's interesting because not a lot of drivers have to do it like at our level, kind of like what you mentioned.
There's a lot of a nepotism in the sport, but I actually saw a tweet at the end of last season that was something along the lines of the drivers with the largest social media outreach, and I'm 99% sure that you were at the very, very top of that list.
Ooh,
really impressive, because at the time you had only done a few truck races, and you were you were full time in ARCA. The last question I have, and then I'll pass it off to my co-host for it, is there's one more really interesting thing about you that I think a lot of people notice, which is you are a girl in what is a male-dominated sport. I would love to hear about some of the challenges you've had facing that, and some of the advantages maybe that come with it of being a trailblazer sort of in the NASCAR universe.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. Obviously, racing is a male-dominated sport. There's a lot to navigate. I feel like I'm kind of sorting through it. I mean, I've been doing this since I was 9, so I feel like I'm getting a hang of it at this point. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of double standards. A lot of it, I feel like, stems from like social media comments. So I've kind of learned this year to not read through comments. But yeah, a lot of double standards to navigate. I think, I feel like I do get more of a spotlight being a female in the field because obviously I stand out because I'm not a guy. So there's, a reason that I stand out there, which obviously is great for my partners. And it's cool to have like a bit of like a spotlight, I guess, in a sense, but it is kind of double-edged sword because if I mess up, I feel like it's blown up times a million. Or if it's something that, a different driver did, I feel like people catch it if I do the same thing. And so I feel like it's a double-edged sword, but I try to just, take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, a lot to navigate for sure. I mean, for the most part, a lot of people have been really cool in the truck series towards me. But if they weren't, I feel like I wouldn't care because I'm like, I don't really see myself as a girl when I'm driving. I'm a driver like everyone else. Yep. So I just try to keep that in mind. And, my inner circle, everyone sees me as an equal. Everyone at Tricon treats me as an equal, just like a driver, which is exactly what I want. So I feel like with my inner circle treating me like that, I'm in a good spot, and it doesn't really matter like the outside noise, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, interesting to navigate for sure.
You're behind the same steering wheel as the other 35 people in the field is the way that I. So.
Exactly. Yeah. And I hope other people see me like that. But if they don't, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's them
yeah, for sure. I have not yet learned how to navigate social media. Every single person who says something, I'm like, yeah, I'm coming back, baby. I'm not big. Look at me. I'm alert. Thank you. Thank you very much for that, RJ. I'm like, I'm a guy. I'm a dude who sometimes drives a race car, so I'm going to act like a dude who sometimes drives a race car. I'm not a race car driver, is what I like to say. So, RJ, Maggio, hand it off to you guys for a little bit here.
Well,
yeah, absolutely. So, Tony, what's kind of been the biggest, factor for you as far as being a role model for more young girls that would like to be involved in the sport? Obviously, you hold that role in the truck series now, and you've held it in ARCA for the last several years. So what has that kind of been like? And do you see female drivers that it kind of excite you and you want to help try to, give them some pointers and navigate them through the sport, which it's really tough if you're not involved in it. But what has that been like for you being a role model to them?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal to be called a role model because I've been racing since I was 9. And to me, I'm just kind of doing my thing. And I honestly didn't even realize I was doing something even like semi-inspiring to people until probably about a few years ago. When I started getting into the ARCA scene, I feel like people started asking in interviews like, oh, like that's so inspirational. I'm like, oh, is it? Because I'm just racing. I'm doing my thing. But now, like as I've grown, I realize when I climb in the race car, like it's bigger than just for me. I'm hopefully paving a path for other girls to come up through the sport. That's definitely something that I think about now. And there's a lot of younger girls that I'm like, I want to help all them. If anybody reaches out to me on social media, I always try to make sure to catch all those messages. I hosted a go-karting event for young girls in karting. I think it was last year. And that was like the most special moment to me, it was just like a very full circle moment, just hosting that event, talking to them about my experiences. Cause I'm like, I was in their shoes many years ago. And if I had an event like this and a female mentor and role model to look up to, that would have been super special to me. So I definitely want to be more involved in that sense. And I love being a mentor for younger girls in the sport, or younger girls that are just trying to pave a path and be a trailblazer in their own way. So it's been very special to me, and I hope I can be more involved and keep continuing to help pave the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you say? Yeah, you go ahead, Mason.
No, all good. So obviously you spent many years in the ARCA series driving for Venturini. You had a stint with Tyler Young and Young's Motorsports there. What has been the biggest transition in the way that they drive from going from the ARCA cars to the trucks? Because obviously they're their own animals in themselves. So what has that adjustment been like for you now transitioning full-time into the truck series?
Yeah, definitely. When you're in dirty air, you feel it times a million in the truck, and learning how to navigate that, I think, has definitely been my biggest learning curve. Especially like Vegas was like a really big one, and it was so windy, and just like kind of like recognizing things that you didn't really have to realize in ARCA, even with like tire fall off at Homestead. I'm like, in ARCA, like we didn't even have to worry about that to that extent. So definitely a lot that I'm learning. I feel like it's little things that I've learned, but it's like amplified times a million. So things that I could have got away with in ARCA, you can't in trucks. Like for me in ARCA, I struggled with restarts. And, you know, if you get a bad restart in ARCA, like you're going to fall back maybe a few spots. And trucks, you're going to fall back to the very back. I realized very quickly. So I feel like, yeah, everyone's so good, honestly. I mean, the competition is just stacked. I feel like everyone fighting from first to 25th is insanely good. And yeah, just a very stacked field. So kind of minimizing mistakes. So I feel like they're just amplified in trucks times a million.
Absolutely. Yeah. Would you say that I feel like 4 or 5, whatever years ago that we maybe talked or had an interview or something for the first time when you were kind of still coming on the scene? Yeah, I know it's weird to think back of. When we started the show, we've kind of been bringing on guests that like I had on my old podcast like 4 or 5 years ago when I was just starting in NASCAR life, basically. Like we had Tommy Joe the first week. And so, yeah, that long ago when you were kind of on a part-time ARCA schedule, I think at this point you had really emphasized how, you know, you noticed that a lot of people rush themselves up the ranks. They go from this to here or just bam, 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 really fast. You emphasize that you really wanted to take your time, relish in every moment, really emphasize that you want to work on yourself as much as a driver as well as a person in each series. Do you feel like, you know, kind of what you were saying years ago, you feel like you've followed that route? I feel like you have.
For sure. I think I have. You know, I stayed in ARCA for a few years and I learned a lot there. And do I feel like I entirely mastered ARCA? No, I didn't. But at the same time, I felt like I was almost becoming a little complacent. I felt like I needed to branch out and like push myself more. And I felt like I needed to throw myself in something like the truck series, which is a big leap from ARCA. But I feel like I just needed to throw myself in and just be like sink or swim and then, you know, hopefully swim. So I just felt like I was getting a little complacent in ARCA. I was almost too comfortable. Even with Venturini, like I love those guys and I was so comfortable with them where I'm like, I feel like I'm not, you know, in an environment that I'm like pushing myself and like I feel like I need to branch out and like work with other people. It was just like almost like too good, too comfortable. I'm like, I need more challenge, which I mean sounds kind of silly to say. But yeah, I feel like I was getting kind of complacent in some ways. And I would love to go back and run ARCA races because I honestly feel like I've learned so much in the few truck races I've done this year. And it'd be fun to go back and kind of execute a little bit better. But
what track? You get one ARCA race to go do a one-off in. Where are you going?
Ooh. If I had to choose one, it would probably be actually. I don't think they're running at Pocono, but for some reason I loved Pocono in the ARCA car, and I'd love to go back there. That's one where I feel like I could have
done with ARCA in Pocono, which I think.
Forever.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's forever, but I know for at least the foreseeable future, there's no ARCA at Pocono, which really makes me sad because Pocono is my home track, and I freaking love.
Steven loves Pocono.
I love Pocono.
I love. It's funny because when I first ran there, it was my least favorite track, and I was absolutely horrendous. And then when I ran back there, it was either 2 years after or like the next year, it was my favorite track.
Interesting.
And I somehow switched up. It's ridiculous. Yeah, no, it was pretty bad my first time there.
That's how it goes sometimes, though. Maybe Bristol will turn around for you, Steven.
I don't know about all that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Tony, do you actually know that you and I raced in my very first time in a stock car? You were there.
Oh.
I think you and I were actually racing for like 10th place.
Oh, wait, where at?
Florence? South Carolina?
Yeah, that is a tough track. I probably was having a bad day.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. I mean, if you were racing around me, you must have been having a bad day.
Having a bad day racing you.
It was a bad. I mean, it was a bad day because I'll tell you right now, I had just.
Were you struggling?
What'd you say?
Were you struggling there too?
I struggle everywhere I go, except for Pocono. Pocono is pretty much. I wasn't bad at Gateway. I was racing around.
Oh, Gateway.
Yeah, I think I was racing around you, Josh, Chris Hacker. You were in that Gateway race too, actually.
I was randomly.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. So we were pretty similar at Gateway, but in Florence, that was my first ever late model race, and it was actually only my second time ever driving a stock car or any manual transmission ever. So when I was leaving the pits, I went to go to third, and I lost the gear. I couldn't find it, and I threw it somehow in reverse. and we didn't have a spare transmission. So I blew reverse first and second clean out of it, like gone. There is no first, there is no second, there is no reverse. We're starting every restart in third and just dropping it to fourth and going. And I distinctly remember my best friend at the time, Noah, who also ended up spotting for me in my first race at Mid-Ohio. I remember him calling me after the race and being like, who was the spot in front of you? He's like, Tony Bryant. I'm like, wow. I'm like, we're here. So the connection runs deep. We have never officially met until today, but we have like raced around each other for the past like 4 years, and I think it's really fun.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, nice to meet you.
Meet you too. But I've been dying to tell that story. I've been thinking about it since we found out you were on the show. I'm like, I wonder if she remembers. Evidently not, but
no, I don't remember you doing that to your transmission.
It does. It does make me feel better. What they say is really true, that people don't remember every mistake you make. But I think about that like twice a week. So,
yeah. It's funny, Steven, that you bring that up because I remember my first year late models that I did. It was in the limited division at Hickory. And I remember Tony being in the field a couple of times. What?
Was I in that?
Yeah,
race?
you were driving Knipe's car, I believe it was.
Yeah,
Dexter Knipe. Great family, by the way. They're great people.
Yeah.
But I remember interacting with Tony a couple times in the past, and then lo and behold, I was in the same race as her truck debut, where she did awesome in that one and learned a lot. So I was. It's funny how the racing world just comes full circle before you even realize it after a period of time.
Yeah. It's so big but so small at the same time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, for as big as it is, it's the word goes around fast, or you somehow find each other a couple of years down the road, or however long. So it's pretty neat how how everything comes full circle one way or another.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Matthew, do you remember how many laps down you put me in the first time we ever raced?
No, it was before I knew you. It was before I knew Josh or anybody like that. I was driving for
where?
Evan Light and the Light family that year. So
okay, yeah. How many laps down? Do you remember?
I don't know. I'd have to look back at it because I remember there was one race with you, and then there was one race with Josh. I remember, and that was way before I met you guys. That was probably like 2 or 3 before we had actually like formally met.
Yeah. It was 13. If you really want to know the answer to that question, it was 13.
2013?
No, it was 13 laps down. I finished Mason Maggio in a 75 lap race. Put me through. Put me 13 laps down. That's how far off we were, dude. It was bad. It was bad. My late model experience was not a fun time.
I'll have to look back at the stats. I genuinely don't remember.
Yeah, I was actually just trying to find the Florence race on Race Monitor to send to RJ so we could whip up a quick graphic of that because it would have been really funny. But
we'll get it next week.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I got enough here in the bank.
Yeah. Okay. You got enough at the bank. What do you got next?
Oh, I got a few things of you, but we'll save those for later. But anyways, I wanted to talk about something. Look, something that I've been thinking about, something that I think of when I see Tricon. Let's talk about your organization here real quick, Tony, where NASCAR, a lot of people have called for NASCAR teams to spice it up a little bit, to put out a good merch line, to put out some better stuff, some more modern things. I feel like Tricon Garage is the perfect mix. You guys put these graphics out for every driver when you started. And I thought it was absolutely sick because I don't see anything like it anywhere. So if you want to real quick.
Oh, I'm wearing the same thing.
Yeah, I think I think you're literally wearing it right now. I promise I queued this up before the episode. Hell yeah. So talk about real quick how it's been at Tricon, how cool that it kind of meshes with kind of what you do as well in a way, and how cool it is that they do this.
Yeah, I feel like Tricon's kind of a trailblazer themselves with, the social media and everything they're doing on that end. When I was joining the team, that was something I was very excited for, that they value social media because it helps with, on my end too, with my partners and also getting exposure. So it's awesome that we kind of aligned on that and we've been able to create some really fun stuff. And I'm excited to see what else we can create together. But yeah, the announcement was super fun and just the start to our to our journey
Yeah,
together.
I think seeing this stuff is really cool. How do people like what's I want to know, because I've known Corey Heim for a while as well.
Yeah.
What's his drip line like? Is he a guy that kind of rocks with this kind of stuff, or what's a daily wardrobe of Corey Heim? I'm interested.
Yeah, I feel like honestly, I feel like a lot of drivers tend to wear the same outfit. Which I love, like spicing up the fits and wearing something different. But yeah, I always kind of say like a lot of drivers just like wear the same thing every single time, like a team shirt and like. So I'm sorry if you guys do that, and it's okay if they do that. But but I think it's fun, like to wear like a chain or something. I'm like, come on, guys, just like put like a chain on, something, do a little spice. But obviously to each their own. But yeah, it is kind of the contrast is funny sometimes.
Even's got a hoodie.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I'm an RBR hoodie and either black pants, or I got this one pair of black Nike sweatpants that looks like black pants. That's my outfit every day.
And you wear that every time?
Every race. That's it. And then I'm big on, if there's anything less than 4 hours between practice and the race, I'm not getting out of the suit and the underwear. I'm just keeping that shit on. I'm not.
Oh, I always keep my suit on.
I don't understand it. It takes me 25 minutes to get in that shit. I'm not taking it off to put it back on again. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
25 minutes. I'm not on jeans while I'm feeling crusty. Like that's a
yes,
experience.
that's a great. Thank you. I'm glad that somebody finally
you feel validated.
Yeah, the Outback suit stays on at all times. That's
true. I will say I am getting a new fire suit this week. I'm getting or next week.
Wow.
I'm getting a Rayone Brothers Racing fire suit instead, because we want to keep the Outback fire suit preserved, clean, fresh for Outback Steakhouse. Like it's wearing it every week kind of dilutes it a little bit. It needs to be a special thing for me.
I feel
yeah.
It's funny because I went to Darlington last weekend. I wasn't racing, just wanted to go hang out, and I felt like for the first time in forever I had changed up my outfit choice. I wore like a throwback Jeff Gordon hat, pair of blue jeans, a throwback hat, and then
you got a mustache going on. So I
was gonna say it explains the Gordon mustache that I'm rocking right now, but I'm definitely gonna shave it before Bristol. It's that was the one time, and I'm like, man, I feel out of place instead of not having my collared shirt or my team shirt, whatever. So if I'm gonna learn anything from this episode, is I need to update my at the track drip. So I will definitely keep that in mind. I'll let you be the judge of that, Tony.
I try my best to. I feel like it's something that needs to be more of a trend here in NASCAR, and I think Tricon's doing their best to help out with this. And so I think it's really fitting that Tricon's first NASCAR Cup Series driver officially, you can say, was Martin Truex Jr. And I would want to see him in one of those graphics.
Oh wait, yeah, that confused me for a second, but
yes.
You're right.
Technologically speaking, yes, at the Daytona 500 was MTJ. Didn't go how we thought it would go, but he did get that start. We'd love to see him back. Somebody says in our Instagram chat if there's any hopes of you. I know we like to bash on the Xfinity series. Maybe people don't want to go there right now, but any hopes to maybe get a start in there in the next few years? Is that a goal? Do you like those race cars, the way they slip and slide around and sometimes run into each other?
Yeah, I mean, definitely within the next few years, I would definitely like to make a start for sure. I really don't know much about how they drive.
They drive like this. Hold on.
Talk about them.
They drive just like this.
Jeez. We're never gonna let that one down.
Sign me up.
The year I make the move up and make that my priority in the Xfinity series.
Hey, how was that meeting?
What was that?
How was that meeting?
Ooh, how was the meeting?
Yeah.
I was not a part of it.
Oh.
It was only for the drivers that week. Jokes on them. I'm being a fan this week.
I feel like you should have been a part of it because you were part of the problem race. I feel like it should have been the week before, not the week after. Like,
no,
how are you going to do?
I was part of the.
Yeah, you were part of the problem.
That's what I'm saying. I don't have as much fun. This is a crazy take, and I think most drivers are going to disagree with me on this. I don't have as much fun driving the Xfinity car as I do the truck. I don't. I did not like it as much. I like the drag on the truck, like the aero of the truck. And like for me, when I want to push, and here's the reality, right? If you are not in great equipment and you're really trying to push your hardest, if you push it too hard, you're just going to crash and you're still not going to be fast. So like when you're driving an Xfinity car, if you're really pushing too hard and your car is like a 2.5 second off the pace car, you're going to try to get it to 2.2 seconds off the pace and you're going to crash. The truck's aero makes it way easier to drive for the back marker guys, I think. So I think for me, like I prefer the truck. I don't know. Put me in a JRM Xfinity car, I might feel very differently. But I don't know. I'll tell you from my experience, Imagine, I think you're the most qualified. I don't think you are the most qualified to speak on this issue. So if you feel that the Xfinity car is better, that's the answer.
I've driven enough of both, way more than you have, Steven. So I will say that. But I mean, every car is its own beast, right? Like whether it's a Xfinity car, truck, ARC car, late model, like they're all going to drive differently. It's just a matter of how you adapt and what you're able to take away from each race, right? Because every race is a learning experience. Like no matter how experienced you are, how many laps you got at a track or in a car. So I mean, it's just every car is its own animal. It's just a matter of how you adapt and how you go about racing against the guys around you.
I want to talk about something very important here before we get to the closing part of this segment. I hinted about it before we brought Tony in here. I need everybody. So Tony, 2 weeks ago, we had a long, didn't even plan this. We just talked about chicken tenders all show. Don't know how it happened. I mean, not all show, like 15-ish minutes, but like more abnormally long than most talk shows would talk about chicken tenders. But we're new here and we're trying to find a group. So I think I know what Tony goes with. So I'm gonna let Mason and Steven go here first. What are we rolling with here? Yeah, 4 choices.
Man, I got to go with the box combo. It's hard to deny that. I can't tell you how excited I was when I pulled up to Daytona this year and I saw there was a Raising Cane's literally right next to the racetrack. Dude. I can't tell you how quickly I went over there and was like, I need my box combo. I'm not a coleslaw fan personally, so I'm going to exchange it out for more bread, put it all together. Oh, my goodness, yes. It's perfect.
She got to do the grand opening for that. Wasn't it first day? You got to be there, Tony?
Yeah, I was there. I helped cut the ribbon. It was
She was fun. There. Yeah, it's a bang. I'm there every time in Daytona. Yeah. I mean, it's literally right outside of turn 1. Like you can't miss it, and then you can't not go there.
No, it's great.
Absolutely.
So, I think that's
what am I? So funny story. I was looking through my Twitter today for a couple of things that I was trying to look at for the show, and one of them I actually found that I meant to send to you, RJ. In 2021, when I started late model racing, my favorite place to go was Raising Cane's because I lived in Charlottesville, Virginia, and there was a Cane's like on UVA's campus. So I would go there all the time. And back then I was eating like a freaking fat cow, and I was getting Caniac combos all the time. I'd eat all 6 tenders in 4 minutes. So, and I'm not healthy, so I'm subbing that coleslaw for a little bit of extra Texas toast. And you give me 8 cane sauces. You give me 8. I'm not taking less. I'm not taking more. You give me 8 cane sauces, 2 in the thing, 6 extras. I will gladly pay for it. They will stay in my fridge until they're gone. But the tweet that I was talking about is I actually tweeted at Todd Graves. And I was like, hey, man, if you want to sponsor a race car, I got a guy for you. So, Tony, watch out. I'm coming. I'm going to retweet that today as a re-emphasizing point. But yeah, I'm a box combo guy. Caniacs is too many chicken fingers for me to eat. So
there's a lot in there.
But I'm definitely a sub the Texas toast or sub the coleslaw for more Texas toast. And you got to load it up with the cane sauce. Load it up with the cane sauce. You can never have too much cane sauce. It's what makes the chicken. I'm basically doing a sponsor promo for you here, Tony. I'll let you take it away.
I appreciate it. Took the words right out of my mouth.
What do you got? What's your go-to?
Mine is also box combo, but I keep the coleslaw. I love the coleslaw. I love every part of the box combo. I don't want to sub anything out. So it's my go-to, and then I'll do an unsweet tea for my bevy.
That's the tea there I heard is pretty good. I'd be rocking with that lemonade. I remember they had the green. When did they have the green lemonade? Was it for St. Patrick's Day or something? I just remember going there one time and the lemonade was green, and then Tony Bridinger's face was right on it too, and I was like, all right, like we got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. But yes,
I think it is so funny when you walk in the Canes. Oh God, is it the Canes in Philly or is it the Cane in Deptford? One of the two Canes by me has a cardboard cutout of you.
Yeah, people were taking him like everywhere. People were taking her on flights. So
I remember I saw that.
All right, fine.
Yeah, she went to a concert.
If it's there next time I go to Canes, I'm taking it. It's done. Game over. I just think it's so funny. I wonder too, like in the South, and I don't know if you two have experienced this too. Like in the South, we're like recognizable people at times, and me probably the least out of all three of us. You probably the most, Tony. But like people will like be like, "Oh, I know you from somewhere?" And you're like, "Yeah, NASCAR." And they're like, "Oh, you're the Truck Series guy who sucks." Whatever. But like in the North, like nobody could give a shit. I think it's so funny. Like the second you cross into Virginia, it's like NASCAR is a cool thing. But like in New Jersey, people are like NASCAR, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much what it is, you know. Anyways, I'm gonna steal the Tony Bridinger's Canes thing. That's my latest endeavor in life. I'm bailing on Bristol. I'm just gonna go find the Tony Bridinger's Canes cutout board, and I'm gonna bring it to Rockingham, and I'll give it to you.
Perfect. Sounds good. I have a lot of them, actually. I used to have them standing in my entryway because I didn't know where to put them, and I realized that's like a weird thing to do. So I have like 5 of them in a closet, right?
You got to do what you got to do. And Tony, I know we kind of have like corporate beef with our corporations here with my side gig, but I get to do a Chick-fil-A grand opening here in a few weeks, and I'm excited, you know, but like, you know, I understand. I'm still a big Canes guy here, you know, but sometimes I got to roll with my corporate people over there.
We'll keep RJ and Tony out of this one. Maggio, Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A or Canes?
Man, I gotta go with Canes. That's they've stolen my heart lately. I need one of them to open up closer to either North Carolina or back in my hometown in Florida. But yeah, every time I see one, it's like that's where I'm going.
The marketing and the presentation is so much better with Raising Canes, and I've pushed for this for someone that has been put in a marketing position with Chick-fil-A, but we can't really do anything. From what you got, like, I don't know if you guys know, we like Chick-fil-A has like guidelines where we can't you can't sponsor like an individual, you can't or use somebody for like a commercial or anything. That's why their commercial is different. You can't do this, can't do that, can't. I remember getting sat down for like my first marketing meeting, and it wasn't like here's what we're gonna do. It was here's what you can't do. And then I look at Raising Canes over here, and we got Tony, an absolute G, right? And then all the things that they're doing. I'm like, man, if we could just be like this, I would have so much more fun with my job. But unfortunately, I can't. So,
RJ, you talked about the branding with something like that, right? Obviously, like for you, Tony, like Raising Canes has gone all in on you, and I think that's super cool to see. And we mentioned like the cardboard cutouts at the restaurant and all the cool promos and social media posts that you guys have done. So talk about that a little bit with us. Like, what does it mean to have not only your brand, but to have another brand like Raising Canes kind of really just collide, come together, and in a sense, embrace each other to the fullest, which has been really cool to see.
Yeah, it's been very amazing working with them. I mean, last year, like having billboards everywhere was so surreal. They've really uplifted me and championed me and supported me through this whole journey. So their partnership has been really special to me because I've also been a fan of Canes for a while now before working with them. So it was cool that it was just such like an authentic partnership. And yeah, they've been super, super fun to work with. I've done a lot of fun things with them, like going to the F1 Vegas race, doing Canes drive-thrus, grand openings. So it's been really cool working with them, and all the opportunities that come with it too have been super cool.
Yeah, I forgot you had to go to that Vegas race. That was they sent like a whole crew there, didn't they?
Oh yeah, it was insane, and yeah, like the after party stuff. It's crazy.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a fun time. And I have one last question for me before we let you go. We talked about what kind of we got to talk about like 4 to 5 years ago, right? 2020, 2021. And I asked where you'd like to be, 4 or 5 years down the road. So now we're going to do it again 4 or 5 years later. We're looking at 2029, 2030. What's your short term ish, kind of goal here for yourself? Do you ever think about it as much where you kind of want to be in the short/long term?
Yeah, I mean, I would say my 5-year plan in a perfect world would be to be in the Cup Series in 5 years. I feel like that's like an ideal transition through the ladder system. So yeah, that's in a perfect world if everything aligns. But kind of like what I said, when you interviewed me years ago, is I don't want to also rush up. So I think it really just depends how everything kind of plays out. Obviously, there's a lot more involved than just getting into the Cup Series. Like there's a lot of in between. So yeah, I think the cards just have to align really well. But I think like a 5-year plan for that would be perfect for me. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's my
I have one more question. I gotta
do it.
One of RJ's favorite stories to tell about any driver in the NASCAR garage is the Tony Breidinger Christmas card story about how you sent him a Christmas card. So
wait, a Christmas card. Wait,
I don't know, but now
like
there's a whole
with merch and stuff.
there was a whole not a card. It wasn't a card. It was I told Steven this story before the show where there was a bunch of I have driver merch here and there. Like I'll still have Kevin. I grew up a Kevin Harvick fan, so I still got Kevin Harvick stuff on my wall. I still got Ross Chastain, so that big watermelon guy. And in my I don't know if it's there anymore. No, it's right up top there. I never had a lot of 124s. So there was I have a Young's Motorsports that I was lucky to be gifted with, the 02, like I don't know what to call it, ARCA, not Gen 6, but little 124. And then some we'll call it drip, since that's the word we're using on this show. Drip sent over as well. So I still have these shirts because I like little designer shirts and things like that to wear out. There's like a video of me or something, or a picture or something. I was at, we'll just be honest here. I was at a Spanish club like 2 years ago. Don't know how I ended up there. I was there wearing the Tony Breidinger Young's Motorsports crew neck.
Oh, that's sick.
And I feel like the design, I don't know who designed it, who we can shout out, but it's one of the coolest shirts that I have.
Yeah, I love that one. I take a lot of pride in our merch design, so I'm glad you love it too.
And I love to hang on to some memorabilia that I can still collect. I was a big diecast collector back in the day, so it brought out the kid in me as well. But yes, that is a story I have told, that I have lots of things that thankfully I still hold on to, but of course was very appreciative of you and the team. You guys have always been incredible. And yes, it was worn at a Spanish club. Yes, it was great.
Wow.
Great time.
I love that.
Didn't know really what was going on, but we were repping Tony B. So thank you, Steven.
I love that.
You're welcome, RJ. I wanted to make sure that got told before we were done today.
Anything from you, Mason?
No, I mean, other than I'm trying to get to the track on Friday to watch some truck series racing at Bristol, but no, I mean, it's obviously you got a lot of exciting stuff coming for you, Tony. That's really cool to see. You're a great person with a great attitude that has a lot in store for your future. So hopefully there's more to come between more great partners like Canes, for example, backing you and helping you reach those goals that you were talking about. And hopefully we'll continue to see more progress and continue to build on your resume. So it's exciting to see. And if I don't see you at Bristol, good luck.
And look, Maggio, Tony, if you guys want to come over to the RBR hauler, we're getting Outback Steakhouse catered, baby. So we're switching you both. Team Canes, Team Outback, we're coming through. Tony, thanks so much for joining. It was great meeting you. I'll see you on the track this week and next week at Rockingham. So be sure if you're lapping me that you don't move me. I'll get out of your way. I promise.
No, you'll be good. I'll see you
later.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Tony, for coming on the show. It's been amazing to see your progression throughout the years, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. You guys are fun to talk to.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. All right, and that has been Tony Breininger here on the Motor Stardom Show. Like we said, she will be racing this weekend. Obviously, she's on a full-time schedule, unlike these two Jim Bobs. Well, mostly Steven. Mason's basically full-time. He's racing almost every other week. Steven's getting a good schedule in here, though. I guess you're going to be at Rockingham. You've dropped, I guess. Yeah. We're going to Rockingham.
You just dropped the news like prematurely.
Way to go.
Crazy.
But hopefully Josh isn't still watching. Hopefully there wasn't a big press release for you. Even though I haven't seen a single damn press release for you all year, you just end up on the entry list. But
that's kind of my bad.
That is his press release, social media announcement, whatever. It's
the Motor Stardom. If you want to know,
when Bob Pockris posts
what
the
better
entry
publicity
list.
than Bob Pockris?
No, if you want to know the story about Stephen J, you got to come on the Motor Stardom Show and find that out.
CJ McLaughlin waited until Tony left to start berating in the Instagram chat. He said Mason Maggi drinks Raisin Canes by the shot glass. And then Toledo said CJ McLaughlin drinks motor oil from Main Street by the shot glass. CJ McLaughlin, we promised he would be back next week to talk some shit here on the show after Bristol. As he was racing this weekend. He's back in the 91.
Yep.
Yes. So if you've been the 91, he should be pretty good for the race owners points. I think CJ's in the show.
Yeah, no, CJ should be locked in the show. I know because I review all this stuff every single week. Always seeing like who's on the entry list, where's everybody at in points. But no, CJ's got a great opportunity in that 91 car with Mario Goslin, the DGM team. So hopefully he'll have a good run this weekend. They're a good group of people over there.
Maggio, any opportunity you love to take to shout out teams and people and call them. I think your exact phrasing is a great group of people. You love that one. You love that one. We got a good question in the chat here, Maggio, for me and you, unless if RJ has some connections to this. Question was, how do you get your foot in the door with major companies to look towards sponsorships? Well, for me, a lot of it, and Maggio, I'll let you answer separately, but for me, a lot of what I can do is the value is tough, and we talk about this a lot on the show. I try to have a connection to the brand, like some type of personal relationship that makes them more inclined to sponsor me as a brand representative. So like with Outback, obviously I did Outback a lot when I got Domino's. No, the cuck chair's over there, CJ. I'm at the desk. At Domino's, yeah, he really just asked me that, but it's over there. There's one in my room. It's just over there somewhere. This is just the regular desk chair. Like Domino's, I drove for Domino's for a while. So they sponsored. Whoa, Big Rybone 24. Take it down a notch, baby. I'm not giving them up. This question's gone off the rails, but essentially,
please continue.
It's the way to go. And to follow up. So one, personal connection is the answer to the question about getting companies to look towards you. Two, Big Rye Guy 69 or whatever his name is. No, Outback is my sponsor. They're not going anywhere. And three, I'm not in the cuck chair. I'm not in the cuck chair. That is what I have to say about that.
That was a lot. That was a lot.
Yeah,
Joe, you don't even got to answer the question anymore.
No, I got my fair share. I'm just gonna subtract a couple of the other of your key points. But anyway,
thank you.
No, I mean, look, every company is different, right? Everybody wants different things out of a partnership, right? So it's just a matter of being persistent and getting your foot in the door, no matter where it is. And I'm going to use my old man as an example, right? He's told me that finding sponsorship is like trying to find a girlfriend. You're going to have more no's than yeses. So
way more girlfriends and way more success with women than I have with sponsors. And that says something. That says a lot because I've not had like a ton of success with women.
Well, I'm just saying just like a healthy relationship kind of thing. But anyway, besides that, just as a funny example, but no, I mean, it's tough, right? Like you got to be persistent. I mean, I literally sent probably 50 emails out today and I got 0 responses, right? So it's just a matter of getting that one yes, right? And then when you do, it's a matter of saying, okay, what can I do to give you back business, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, the experience and being a part of NASCAR and your brand, like that is cool, right? But at the same time, there needs to be more value to the table. And I think, to Tony's point, right, with the social media following, that's a big part of it, right? From a branding perspective, some companies want to figure out, okay, well, can I find more clientele from this sponsorship for whatever business they're doing? So there's B2B opportunities, right? Which is another thing that is really big in the sport. We see a lot of that behind the scenes with, anywhere from the biggest teams to the smallest teams. And then just trying to figure out, how do you give a return on a company's investment? Give them a reason why they should invest in you to ultimately get that investment back, and then hopefully grow the relationship for long term, right? And just trying to deliver for them off the racetrack as well. So there's a lot that goes. Oh, God dang it! But there's a lot that goes into it. It just depends on any company, but the first thing you got to do is just get their attention, which is usually the hardest part. But no, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have some great partners over the last couple of years. Steven's been in the same boat, has had a lot of partners over the last couple of years, and ultimately you want to get to the racetrack and deliver for them both on and off the track, and be able to have not only an opportunity for yourself but opportunities for your partners.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to this conversation. Motor Stardom has 0 sponsors at the moment. We are working on that. Not as many emails as you guys send, but
I wish I had the power to make graphics
there,
because right now there'd be Motor Stardom has no motion graphic going on, but I'll let that go.
Not much. Only insights. No financials, but that's why we have Chick-fil-A, thankfully. So CJ's tearing it apart in the IG live chat. Can't wait to have him on here next week. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully a good race for them at Bristol. Hopefully a great race for Mason, and hopefully no drivers meeting next week as well.
No, thank you. Well, I wouldn't be a part of it next week either, so I could skip that.
What a guy. Mason's going to take out the field this week.
No, I think Joey Gase would be chewing my butt out. I don't want that.
Here comes Mason Maggio into the corner.
I was behind all that chaos. I still don't know how I avoided.
Yeah, you're still not. Wait, hold on. Can we replay that? Let's replay that.
I still don't know how I avoided that front stretch wreck. My spotter stopped spotting and was like, "Just slow down." I'm like, please, there's just so much smoke.
Still no Maggio. Still no Maggio. Still don't see Maggio. Still no Maggio. Still no Maggio.
Still
no Maggio.
You there?
Nope, not yet. Still no Maggio.
Oh no, he's
there. I think there
he might be over there.
Right there. Sorry, I had to do it to you,
Yeah, Steven laughs at me, but the difference is I was actually in the mix, unlike him. So
hey, you can make fun of me all you want. I don't finish races at all, so that's we're
better than me.
Here.
Yeah, that is true. You have the record set tying or matching your team owner for 2 straight last place finishes. So if you're racing the next 2 weeks, there's a shot you could do it again.
Wow. Can I steal the back-to-back from myself? I'd have to really try. I don't know if I got that dog in me, but we could see. We could see what happens. I mean, we will know in 2 weeks, right? So
we will. We surely will. So we can talk about one more thing here before we sign off. We can actually maybe talk about NASCAR for a second, the NASCAR Cup Series. Something from this past week at Darlington. Let's just do a general recap here, update people where we are in the NASCAR Cup Series. We talk about Xfinity and trucks a lot. I mean, I guess Cup really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Racing Xfinity trucks is better. But anyways, here's the top 10 of the regular season standings. Denny Hamlin moves himself up. He's 49 points back. William Byron's kicking the field's ass. Obviously, he did at Darlington, leading the opening 243 laps. Bell's right there. Elliott's right there. You have Hendrick still, all 4 of them in the top 10, although Alex Bowman is slipping a little bit. Any surprises this season? What's been your guys' biggest surprise from the Cup Series this season, or surprise driver?
But I mean, I think the only answer is probably Bubba, right? I mean, looking at this graphic, the only answer is Bubba, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, outside of that, I'm surprised at how bad Ty Gibbs has been.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised at how bad Riley Herbst has been, especially with how well his team cars are running. And obviously, there's a lot behind that. But I think I would like to stick to good surprises when talking about these Cup guys. I will admit, I don't know if you saw it, RJ, when we started talking about the Cup Series, I legitimately yawned. Like I yawned just because that's kind of where we are, I guess, in Cup. I mean, like it is.
Yeah.
We have reached the point where the cream has risen to the crop or to the top, right? Like it is. If you look at this, it is the best teams in NASCAR and no one else. There are no surprises. There are no underdogs. It's pretty much been dominated by the top of the field this entire time. And like a couple of things that I would note about this, I think Blaney and Larson are faster than their standing show. I think Bowman is faster than his standing shows. I think Elliott is surprising to see him in fourth. But outside of that, like this is pretty much where I expect it to be at this point in the year with these types of contenders, right? And where we are. Like I said, I have been waiting every year for Bubba Wallace to have that breakout year, and it just feels like this is gonna be it. Like it feels like he has had speed everywhere we've gone so far. It feels like he is consistently in the mix, and it feels like he is not just in the mix, but he is leading races. Like there was legitimate 100 laps where people thought he was going to win Homestead, and like that's awesome. That I don't know that we've really had that many opportunities to feel that way about Bubba Wallace in the past year, but he's done it multiple times this year where he has been awesome. So, and as a matter of fact, I mean, obviously he's still behind Reddick in the standings, but he has run just as clean, if not more cleanly, than Tyler Reddick has. And I've been really impressed. And I think there's a real shot that we see that 23 car as a dark horse contender for the round of 4.
Yeah, I think Steven brings up a lot of good points. I think Bubba Wallace has really been solid to start out this year. I mean, like you said, I mean, contending for the win at Homestead, was in the mix pretty much all day long last weekend at Darlington. It's been really cool to see. And, we talk about driver performances, but people don't realize like it is a team effort, right? And I think that team has really just turned it around. Like pit stops were great for Bubba last weekend as well during the green flag stops. The calls have been good on top of the box. I mean, it's just been a step up all the way around, right? So it's been good to see. And I'm a Bubba Wallace fan. I know he's had his fair share of ups and downs. But I think he's coming into his own this year for sure. And I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with as we move forward here with the schedule. And I think he's going to be a contender at a lot of like the mile and a halves in particular that I can think of. Obviously a winner at Kansas. We got Kansas coming up here within the next month or so. So that's one that I wouldn't be surprised if Bubba won. He's a winner there in the past and, has been very solid there. So I think he's been good. I will say I think Larson and Blaney have both been better than where the results are at. Blaney having I think 3 blown motors in the past 5 races. I mean I
think it was 2 in a wreck, 2 blown motors in a wreck or something.
Yeah, I mean it's just tough luck, and all the pieces of the puzzle have to fit in. You can be fast, but I mean there's always a factor that's going to prevent you from getting those results. And I think. Now, jumping over to Larson, I've always felt like Larson's biggest thing is he is either going to run up front and win a race, or he's going to wreck trying, right? And
checkers or wreckers and bottom.
That is definition. Literally checkers or wreckers. There's literally no in between. I mean, we saw it last weekend. I mean, he wrecked not only once on lap 4, but he wrecked with 4 to go. And I mean, it's a double-edged sword that the 5 team has got to work on their consistency. There's got to be a point to where it's like, hey, we need to, if we're not going to win today, we gotta finish wherever we're running and try to build the points up. Because the 5 team is good. They are obviously very good. They got a talented driver. They got a great crew over there, but they got to start finishing races if they're not going to be up front. And that's the only way that they're going to be able to jump a couple of the guys that they got in front of them. That's the only way that they're going to do it. But no, I mean, I think Byron's been solid this year. Denny's been very solid this year. Obviously, 2 wins in a row. Christopher Bell has been very solid to start out the year, which is something that, in the past we haven't seen. It usually takes that 20 team a little bit of time before they, kind of get their feet in the water and are able to really put the results together. So that's been really cool to see to start out the season. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be tough this year, and these guys, these guys are the best in the world, in the stock car world. So
Yeah.
but no, it's been really interesting to see, some of the guys that have really turned it around to start off the year that are now in this conversation in the first place.
Well, and I'll say two things to that. One, the things have concerned me. I'll say three things. One, I have been a little concerned with the Toyotas because there have been some tracks where they have just missed it. Like at Darlington, outside of 2311, they looked awful at first. And if it wasn't for pit strategy, that completely saved them. And a caution, that Hocevar Herbst caution saved all of them because Briscoe, Bell, and Gibbs all would have lost a lap, and none of them would have gotten the wave around if that caution doesn't come out and we run to the end of the stage. And Denny dropped from 8th to 19th in that first stint before that caution came out and was continuing to fall like a rock. They missed something big off the truck. The thing that's impressed me, this is two, the thing that impressed me so much about Byron is it does not feel like they miss. They get off the truck and are top 10 speed everywhere they go, no matter where it is. It is pretty impressive to watch what Rudy Fugel and those guys at the 24 camp have done. The last thing I'll say is shout out to Ryan Preece, who has done really well in the 60 car. He's been a contender multiple weeks, runs up front. He's in playoff position right now. Great for him. Shout out to Josh Berry, who's 20th in points, but should be higher. He's had some really, really unfortunate luck. I think he's racked out of 3 or 4 of them already. But, I mean, like Darlington, he was a top 5 to 8 car and just got super unlucky, right? And got involved with that conundrum with Reddick. He got wrecked at Atlanta after winning a stage. He's gotten wrecked a bunch of times. And on the other end of the spectrum, got to talk about how bad Brad K has been. This is the first week he showed any speed, and that's just shocking because it's not an organizational thing. The other 2 RFK cars are 11th and 13th, and he's just not finding the speed and having terrible luck. And then, of course, you got to talk about the 88. I mean, that car has not run well at all. And Trackhouse as a whole has not been great, but the 88 has been especially off the pace. And what's going to be an interesting conversation that we're probably going to have in 10 or 15 weeks about the NASCAR playoffs is when SVG inevitably shows his talent and muscles himself to a road course win, what is that going to mean for the NASCAR playoffs? And what does that say about the NASCAR playoffs? And then we're going to have that whole NASCAR playoffs conversation all over again.
Every year.
Yeah. Yep.
Every year, right around, I feel like sometimes it starts earlier and earlier each year, but it's like the Logano thing last year was inevitable. I knew it was going to happen. I was laughing.
I think everybody knew it.
I knew it was going to happen. But then the uproar just starts even more after. You felt it brewing. They're like, oh, this guy. And then he wins the championship and everyone just
saw that coming.
Yeah.
Just goes absolutely insane. So yeah, we'll see how it all goes. I want to show some real quick here before we finish. It's been asked about in the chat, specifically by LJ. I'm going to show the Xfinity series. We have to talk about this to follow up from last week. We're going to show the Xfinity series results here. Steven was yawning with our Cup Series talk, so now we're going to give him something that he'll have a little bit.
You have the comment
talking about here.
Yes.
The comment? I don't think
I
I do.
So somebody on Instagram last week called me trash to recap it. And he's the certain brother of a certain very God, I don't want to bash him because he doesn't really deserve it and gets enough shit as it is. He's the brother of a very controversial Xfinity Series driver who a lot of people dislike. And after seeing the joking RJ post about making history that we did in promo for the show, he decided to call me trash in the comments, and we got into it a little bit. And he decided to claim that his brother had never finished last before in any race at any level, at any national series level, which, by the way, in itself was not true. He finished last at the Roval one year. But then immediately after that, lap 27, what happens? And I just thought that it was absolute. Karma is a real thing. Karma does exist. And honestly, it was one of those arguments that makes you question how people have arguments like that ever. Because it's like, holy moly, this guy really believes what he's saying. And it's just so fucking wrong. It's unbelievable. Like, it is just so off base. And I just thought that when I saw that as I was working my delivery job, trying to make a little extra law school cash and whatnot, I could not stop laughing. And again, nothing against the guy who drives the race car. And a lot of times I feel like the guy who drives the race car probably keeps his mouth shut, and it has a lot to do with a guy behind a computer who likes to tweet stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm also just a guy who sits behind the computer and tweets stuff. Difference is, I own it. What I say is my own, and it's my MO, right? But this guy just tweets in defense of his brother and f's up his brother's reputation, and it's crazy. Like, you can be a not good race car driver and get away with it as long as you are a likable guy, but he makes him so unlikable. It's crazy. So finishing last made me laugh. That's all I got to say about that. I'm done with it. I'm over it. I'm good. I guarantee you after I finish last at Bristol, Kevin Wright will have stuff to say about that in exchange. So,
well, for now, the case is closed. Stephen has addressed it, and we will begin to close up this episode here. I've already lost track. I don't know which episode this is of our totality. We've had opener, then we had Tommy, and then we had
opening show just us.
Opener was us. Tommy the second. I think
Tommy.
Carson Ware was the third.
Ryan Vargas
was fourth. So our fifth episode.
Didn't we have
fitting? Very fitting, considering our guest drives the 5 truck.
This is our 6th episode.
Wait, hold on. I might have to fact check that one because we had one episode. Remember where the guest fizzled out.
Right. Yeah,
and we had CJ McLaughlin in here.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, the guy that's been talking trash about
no guest. Tommy Joe, CJ McLaughlin, Carson
We're
Ware,
six episodes.
Ryan Vargas, Tony Breidinger. Next week we're having Steve.
I thought we had something there. I was gonna say that is very coincidental, but no, I was wrong.
Almost, but we're looking forward to see the people we get on the show here in the future, and I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about after this weekend. This weekend's on at Bristol. Do we know who's on next one?
Right,
McLaughlin.
right. We're bringing correct.
How'd you forget about CJ McLaughlin?
Guy.
You guys are best friends.
Guys.
I don't know. He's the cuck chair of guests, I guess.
We're going to have CJ and then maybe somebody else from the Xfinity field or something. Sometimes we'll see how people fare this weekend and in this weekend's events. But yes, we did promise him he will be on the show after Bristol, and we'll see how he does. So hopefully a nice clean race for him and Mason Magoo. And we're going to have a good night. So thank you, everybody. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, we hope you have a good time, too.
How does that mean?
I hope you have a good time because you hate driving at Bristol. So I hope you come away from it a little bit more positive.
Maggio, are you going to come say hello to me this weekend, Maggio?
I just said I'm going to try to make the race on Friday. I got to pick up Magoo Sr. from the airport on Friday, and we play in Bristol. So, yes.
He's not a senior. His name is Tony.
No, no kidding.
You're
Dude,
Mason.
It was supposed to be a funny joke.
It wasn't. You jokes, man.
On that note, thank you all for tuning in. This is a big, when you start, you got to be a big clip farming show. So we got a lot of insights clip farming over the last few weeks. We did reach our live viewership peak this episode. So thanks, Tony.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tony. There we go. So it never shows me the total, but I think we were.
We got above 20 at one point.
No, that's the frame rate. Yeah, live. I know in total it should be around like 200, 300 individuals.
My ex-girlfriend tuned in for a nice couple of seconds there. Gotta miss you every day. And on that note, this has been the Motor Stardom Show.
On that note,
I'm Stephen Malazzi.
Yep.
This is Motor Stardom. This is Mason Magoo. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central with CJ McLaughlin.
CJ McLaughlin. Hopefully this Saturday night's